Straight from the man cave, Kinnick Under the Kitchen. Authentic, original player artwork is being drawn up for Hawkeye fans everywhere. Locally made prints of stars wearing the black and gold from the past, present, and future. How about current Hawkeye superstars Cooper DeJean and Torrey Taylor? Legends of the past like Jack Campbell, Spencer Lee, and Tim Dwight. Plus future phenoms like Aaron Graves. There are so many options available. They make great gifts, and your purchase benefits the Hawkeye athletes wearing the black and gold. Visit Under the Kitchen on Facebook or at Under the Kitchen's new website. That's underthekitchen.square.site. Again, that's underthekitchen.square.site. Check out Under the Kitchen today and get your authentic, original Hawkeye print. We appreciate Under the Kitchen. Randy down in Mitchellville, proud sponsor of this show and working with Hawkeye athletes to promote NIL and his wonderful small business down in Mitchellville. It's a great day to be a Hawkeye. It always is. We've got a fun weekend ahead of us, and it starts with this show. I'm pleased to be joined by Hawkeye great, Hawkeye legend, Kachine Alexander, and her Snuggie. They are both here and ready to rock as we get ready for this big-time game on Friday. Kachine, we're about 24 hours away. How you feeling in advance of this massive showdown versus Paige Beckers and the Huskies?
I'm all right. Right now, tomorrow's going to be a really hard day at work. I'm going to struggle, as I'm sure many Hawkeye fans are going to struggle. Just like I did last week. I was struggling all day at work, just ready for the game to go, excited, all of that. But I'm feeling good. I am.
Do you feel better about this game than you did the LSU game? I imagine you do, and we can talk about the reasons why. I feel better about this game than I did the game against LSU.
Yes and no. One, because we have a lot more advantages in this game than we did in the last one. But also because it is the Final Four. And even with 6-7 players, we could still lose. So, but for me, I do feel a little bit better because we have a lot more advantages if we just do and play us. So, but that don't mean I ain't nervous.
Before we get into the nitty gritty of this, and we're going to take phone calls, we're going to break this thing down as much as we can. We are not going to be here for 2+ hours. I can assure you that. I know sometimes people laugh when I say that because they think I'm not a man of my word, and at times I'm not as it relates to length of shows. But Kachine is coming off a long day of work. We're going to be here tomorrow night recapping what we hope to be a Hawkeye victory. And we're also expecting a friendly short visit from HawkeyeReport.com's Tom Kakert, his team out in Cleveland right now covering the Final Four. Lisa Bluter and the players meeting with the media today, and some different things going viral as it relates to women's basketball. Before we get into all of that, I want everybody to pay attention to something. A little logo switch up in the corner. It happens to match Kachine's Snuggie to some extent. Everybody recognizes the logo in the corner, Iowa floor covering. They are a proud sponsor of the show. They've been with us for a couple of years now, sponsor a lot of our short form content. They're with us for the Hawkeye Hangout show you're watching right now. We'll get a message from them later. Certainly check out their website. They're serving not only the metro area down in Bondurant, Des Moines area, but can help you out with whatever flooring needs you may have. So certainly check out their stuff. If you've not heard what they're offering, you can visit their website, iowafloorcovering.com, or a simple Google search will pull up their website, iowafloorcovering.com. And, of course, Under the Kitchen, thanks to Randy once again for being a part of the show. I want to ask you this question first, Kachine. You came to Iowa, played at Iowa during a time period in which UConn was not just dominant. They were as dominant of a team in any sport in any era that we've ever really seen under Gino Auriemma. We've seen a lot of coaches come and go. He is one that has stayed put at what has been a power, and they're kind of the forgotten team this year in a sense. Frankly, I think if you're Paige Beckers, she could view herself as kind of the forgotten star. Everybody wants to talk about Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and even Juju Watkins Paige Beckers has quietly been really good. She put up an impressive stat line against the 1 seed, the Trojans. Did you ever have was there ever a thought in your mind that if UConn offered you a scholarship, would that have been like a dream school for you, given the era that you grew up in?
No. Mm-mm. I wasn't that kind of person. I was the person that wanted to build something, not join in. So for me, no. I feel like you make more of a name for yourself. For example, a Caitlin Clark, where she is about to take Iowa with no All-Americans and nobody going to the WNBA team to a national championship, whereas someone back in UConn days, they were stacked. Multiple people were in the WNBA. It's not fun. I would much rather do it the other way. So no, I would not have. That's just me.
Okay. I'm just curious because I'm guessing I am not a history buff as it relates to the sport. Maybe you are to some extent, but I imagine UConn was rattling off national championship after national championship during that time period, correct?
They were what Caitlin Clark is now. Everybody hates Caitlin Clark because they're tired of hearing about her. We all hated UConn because we was tired of seeing them win every year. We just didn't want to hear it no more. It was UConn this, UConn that. I'm over it. Next. So when, they started losing, everybody was like, oh, thank God. So, yeah, I think, yep. Now, Gino's a fantastic coach. I think that what he's doing this year might be his best coaching resume to date, because taking this team he currently has to a Final Four is insane. I understand you have Paige. I know you have Aaliyah Edward. I get that, but you got 7 players. That's crazy. So I think that he's honestly just having fun with it because he took off all of the expectations off of it. All of them took off all the expectations because we all wrote them off a long time ago. So they were playing free. They didn't have the UConn expectation on them because everybody was like, they got injuries. We'll deal with them next year. So, yeah.
Talk about respect for Gino Auriemma. That's the one comment I made the other day. And again, we're going to run through UConn's roster, and you talk about the depth or lack thereof for the Huskies. A lot of it due to injury. They don't have the size of an LSU or certainly of a South Carolina. I do wonder, though, the 4-day prep. I brought that up the other day. Not that LSU wasn't familiar with Iowa, and I'm not making excuses whatsoever. Iowa also had a short prep for the Tigers. But Kim Mulkey's, like her or not, she's a future Hall of Famer. Gino Auriemma might go down as the best coach in the history of the sport, based in much part on his success level and number of titles, number of wins, etc. You're giving this guy a couple extra days as opposed to playing him again, and maybe in the national championship game or in the Elite Eight where you have a 1.5 day prep. Does that make you fearful at all? There's reason for concern in general playing the Huskies, but does that go through your mind at all, the longer prep time?
No, because that just gives our people prep time. And, I think we have Jenny Fitzgerald is one of the best scouts in the country. So I think it goes both ways in that aspect. And I think that it's a lot harder said than done. LSU has played Caitlin Clark. UConn has not. So as far as recently, I don't know if they played her ever in her career, but I know it ain't been recent. So with that being said, that's a different kind of ball game. It's cool watching her on film on TV, but get up and close and personal, it's a whole different ball game. So, that's the one thing I like, because I don't like people that's played us before. That's why I didn't like LSU, because they played us before. But I'm very curious to see what their game strategy is, because I really only think there's 2 possible ways of playing it. But you never know. Maybe they come up with a third.
I want to run through this because you brought it up. Let's remind everybody that Iowa played UConn in 2021. All right.
Okay.
In the and I know you know that seems like a while ago, but Caitlin Clark put up 21 in that game. That was
2021.
2021. Iowa played
Damn.
UConn in the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. UConn was a 1 seed, no surprise there. And then Iowa played UConn again the following year, I believe. I should have that up in front of me. I'll pull it up, but they played in an early season tournament. And I brought that up the other day. That it was a closer game, but I'll pull it up here in a second. But I just wanted to make sure we're clear on that because
We won 5.
say it again, Kachine.
88-75. That's what Ryan said. I'm going with Ryan.
I don't know where he's getting.
He's saying that's what we're gonna do this tomorrow.
Yeah,
maybe that's what he's saying.
The score in November of 22, I just pulled it up, was 86-79, and that was when Iowa was ranked number 3 in the country. UConn was that was November 22, and that was a UConn victory. So UConn is 2-0 during this era, so to speak.
And how did Caitlin play in that last game?
Let's see. Caitlin had she played 40 minutes and she had 25 points, 7 boards, 6 assists. So, and I believe that was the game. I'm looking through the box score. I believe that was the game that Paige Beckers did not play in due to injury. I'm seeing Aaliyah Edwards had 20 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists. Fudd had a big game, 24 points.
She ain't that old. I mean, right now.
Right. But my guess I'm looking at from a scouting standpoint, Gino Auriemma scouting against Caitlin Clark. There's familiarity there with Paige and Caitlin, and obviously with Aaliyah, who's been there for several years.
Well, I don't think Caitlin's going to have 40. Gino's going to have a stroke on the court if that happens. But they're a little bit more detail-oriented than an LSU. So I doubt they're going to just be going under screens the first possession of the game. That's not happening. So I do think she's not going to have 40, but I do think that Caitlin Clark is still going to be Caitlin Clark because she's got a different look in her eyes. She has a different drive since a couple games ago. I would say right before this Colorado game. That Colorado game, there was a different shift in her. Once she got out of Iowa City, it was a completely different shift in her. So, good luck.
Iowa has won a lot of different types of games to get this this situation. A lot of their wins, Kachine, have been get-back wins, or if you want to call them revenge games. And I'm talking even going back to the regular season. You talk about the win against Kansas State after losing at home. They beat Kansas State down in Florida. They got LSU back in the tournament. I know there are probably other examples. Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament, they get them back. So they've proved themselves good at that role of kind of being the hunters. And they've been the hunted in a sense all year. I'm not downplaying that. But the get-back games they've been very good in. And I think, you know, the game against Colorado is maybe the one example where Colorado was playing that role because they lost to Iowa last year in the NCAA tournament, and Iowa took care of business. So that's encouraging. But if I'm Iowa and I'm Lisa Bluter, maybe I'm totally off on this, and you'll correct me, Kachine, but I'd be pulling up memories because several of these players, including Caitlin Clark, Gabby Marshall was on that team. Go down the list. They were a part of that 22 game. Some of them were a part of the 21 game. So you could say, hey, this era, we're 0-2 against this team. And even though people think we're the favorite and I know we're viewed as the hunted on the outside, we can't go 0-3 against the Huskies. Not that you need extra motivation for a Final Four game, but aren't you looking for any extra edge or motivating factor you can if you're a coach right now?
Yeah, it depends on what the vibe you get from your team. Like they're based off of the vibe they got before the LSU game. I didn't think they didn't seem like there needed to be a ton of communication from Gabby to Caitlin to everybody. Seemed very locked in and focused on what needed to happen in order to move on to the next round. I feel like they feel like they're so close, like they can taste it. So I think that it's more focus on what we need to do. And at the end of the day, let's get a little get back while we can. So it should be interesting. I mean, I think that what's gotten us this far is our maturity and our, of course, I understand Caitlin, but just our maturity and being in certain situations. Even just weathering the storm with LSU going 10-0, run in that first quarter into the second, like that is, a lot of people would have folded with that. But having the maturity that we have on our team with leadership and Kate and Gabby and Caitlin, it was, they had too much belief in that. So I'm very confident. I'm just a little nervous. That's it.
I think one thing. Yeah. I think one thing that we didn't really harp on too much, and maybe it bears repeating. This is kind of a wild stat. Iowa against LSU Monday, they gave up 31 points in the first quarter and still won. 31 points you give up to LSU and still win. They win by 7, 94-87 the final. That is, you don't want to give up 31 in a quarter, Kachine. That, like back in the day, that would have been
any quarter.
Writing a death wish.
Correct.
But as much as you can score, it's kind of like an NBA game. The Hawks play very similar in a couple different ways to what we see in the modern day NBA. You can survive a bad quarter or two because you have such prolific scoring. You're going fast. You're constantly looking to push. Mm-hmm. When you have someone that can push the ball like a Caitlin Clark, it changes things. So, just a side note about Monday's game. Tragus44 with the super chat. Thank you. Kachine the machine taught me to be a lean, mean spelling machine. I think Tragus caught the typo on the last one. So thank you, Tragus.
Yes, he did. Oh, Jesus. Yes, he did. Good job. A+++. You passed.
We're going to keep your comment up here for a while, Tragus. So we don't know. Hey, Kachine, we don't know if Tragus is a male or a female. I mean,
we really don't.
We have no idea who this individual is, but we appreciate the donation and the interaction. So thank you, Tragus44. Yes. Let's go to our first. We're not done breaking this thing down, but let's take some viewer questions and some observations if you have them. Our call-in line is open, 515-635-1601. I also put the link to the StreamYard studio in the description. I threw it up in the live chat as well. If you don't see it in the description, refresh your browser or just hit up the live chat. We'll go to our first caller of the day. We've got Ryan, who is a regular. Ryan, welcome.
Hi, Corey. Hi, Kachine. Cannot wait for tomorrow. I'm still riding on cloud 9 after that game against LSU. Losing my mind here. Couple of things. Number one, let me turn this off. Number one, I'm frustrated a little bit in that so much of the national media does not want to give Caitlin her flowers. If she was, whether she's white or black, I'm not even going there. If she played for LSU, South Carolina, UConn, any of the, so-called women's college basketball blue bloods, and you didn't give her her flowers after, I don't know. I mean, you could do a 6-hour show just naming off her records and awards, right? There's some clown on ESPN, a woman who graduated from UConn. Her name, I don't even remember because it's not worth remembering. Going off about how she can't hold a candle to Paige Beckers. Look, Paige Beckers is a great player, no question, but give me a break. 3,900 points career. I mean, I don't want to even list off all the awards because we'll be here until, past tomorrow's game. Why? I know she's exposed galore, but all she does is sign autographs for little kids, She says the right things. Oh, she's a little demonstrative on the court. Well, you know what? What great male player isn't, and why can't she and other women be that way?
Wait a minute, real quick. Which commentator are you talking about?
The one dating Stephen A. Smith.
Oh,
Her
Molly.
last name starts with a Q.
She's not dating Stephen A. Smith.
Well, that's a rumor. It's a rumor of whoever her. I don't even
Isn't
care
she
what her
married?
name.
Wait a minute. Isn't she married to Jalen Rose? You're talking about Molly Kiram. She's married to Jalen Rose, correct?
Okay, who cares about Jalen Rose?
I
don't know. I don't know. I saw something about that they might be. Who cares? I mean, I'm not even pretending to be informed about that.
Okay.
I'm not even. Well, you asked. I don't even remember her name. I just know her last name started with a Q. She was blasting her earlier today. It's stupid. It's stupid. And yes, I agree. She's being exposed like we've never seen before, but I would hope a lot of the WNBA players will realize that, for the paltry salaries that they make in the WNBA, relatively speaking, she has the potential to grow the game where everybody's pocketbooks might just expand.
So real quick, and then Kachine, I don't know what comment you have here, but I did see something about Molly Karam making a comment. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. Did Molly Karam play collegiate sports? Because if not, she's the equivalent of me making a comment. Like, I can say whatever. I could just start ripping somebody, and who cares? Like,
you don't have to be very bright. You don't have to be very bright to be employed by ESPN, evidently.
I didn't think it was her that made the comment.
I could look it up, but you know what though? She's not the only one. There's just a lot of Caitlyn bashing out there, and it's like, you're seeing.
There's also a lot of Caitlyn praising too.
I think it should be damn near universal for what she's doing and how she's growing the game. How she's growing the game. Of course, you're going to get one or two morons, but it should be pretty close to universal. Now, the game. Go ahead.
The point of media, though, is to create conversation, regardless of if they believe it or not. The point of media is to create exactly the conversation that we're having right now. If everybody agreed on the same thing or presented as if they agreed on the same thing, there would be nothing to talk about because we're just all agreeing. So I saw the segment you're talking about, and she said if Paige Beckers didn't get hurt, would there be a Caitlin Clark? And in the mindset is, first of all, one, we never know. We have no idea what Paige could have, would have, should have done. We don't know that answer. But secondly,
go ahead.
I think that Caitlin was still going to be Caitlin, regardless. Like, her career was still going to be her career. The only thing is, would it have been all Caitlin? That I don't know the answer to, because if Paige would have continued on the rampage she was having after her freshman year, we probably would have been talking about both of them equally. You know what I mean? In the sense of that. I don't think it would have been all Caitlin. No, I don't. I think that Paige would have got a lot of conversation. One, because she played for UConn. Everybody always talking about UConn. And then two is the fact that she was really good. So, but as far as there would be no Caitlin, that's stupid.
Well, Paige getting hurt has nothing to do with Caitlin being far and away number one scoring, number 3 all-time assists, more awards than one can imagine. Now, some of those awards might have been split. I don't know. I can understand a little bit of that. But again, it's just frustrating that I feel like 5 years from now, when the next great player comes by, Caitlin will still be the measuring stick that they put her up against. Now, as far as the game goes, I feel pretty good about this one. And if I'm Kim, or I keep saying Kim, I mean,
You
I
just
know
you I hope
Corey's a big Kim Mulkey guy, and
Ryan,
as soon
be
as I
very
see
careful.
Corey, I think Kim Mulkey.
I think you have a crush on Kim Mulkey is what I think. And I think
Oh,
you need to have a real honest assessment of your values. But go ahead.
I'll tell you what, I got a beautiful wife, and I have no crush on Kim Mulkey.
Good.
Don Staley. If I'm
Me either.
Don Staley, who justifiably is Coach of the Year, once again, I'm thinking to myself, I really, really hope UConn wins because we are the one team that took her down, and Caitlin is the true X factor that just could take, in my opinion, probably a middle of the pack Big Ten team without her. You put, my opinion, the greatest of all time on that team, and she can lift you to victory. And obviously, we saw it last year. It can happen again. And so, my question for you, Kachine, is how do we get by UConn? I think this one will actually be a double-digit win for our Iowa. 99-57, okay. I gave you my score, 88-75. But, let's assume – I would like to hear your opinion on that game. But then if we get past them, how will we beat South Carolina, and how the strategy last year, which was successful because obviously they're a better shooting team this year than last year and extremely balanced. How can we win? Thank you, guys. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ryan. Appreciate it, sir. Whole lot there, Kachine, and I guess let's start with the first part of
I
that
forgot
question.
the first question. What was the first question?
He wanted to know what the key was for this game tomorrow. Is there a one
Run.
is it run? Okay. Is that it?
There's players. They have 6 or 7 players. Do you see how tired LSU was? They only played 6 players. And there's a reason. Now, mind you, they got into some foul trouble, whatever. We're gonna get into foul trouble. We're gonna get people in foul trouble anyways. So that's just what it is. One, because we're putting pressure on them in many facets of the game. But when you have that situation, you have got to run because we are used to running all the time. They are not used to running all the time. So we have got to run the basketball. 2, we have a bench this game. So what I mean by that is we have people on the bench that can contribute in this game. LSU is a little difficult for when I say like a Kylie or a Taylor McCabe or things like that. That was very difficult for them to come in that game and contribute. This game, we have a bench because I think that they can match up with that. South Carolina, we cannot play the same way we played them last year under any circumstances. We will get blown out by 50 if we play like that. So it's going to be a completely new game plan when it comes to that. What that game plan is can be many things. But I think the basis of it is you're still going to have to play Iowa basketball. They are a much better defensive team as a cohesiveness. One, because they are not afraid to get into you because they know they got 6, 7 back there. So we've got to get 6, 7 out of the paint. That means ball screen the hell out of that 5 position because she got to come out of the paint. She got to come out and guard Caitlin Clark. She has to. So if that's the case, Caitlin Clark has got to not just settle for the jump shot because she is 6'7". If she comes out, we hesitate and we blow right by because she can't stay with you. And then if that's the case, somebody's going to come help. We dish off. We do our, Caitlin thing. So keys for that is getting her out of the paint. We have got to get her out of the paint. We cannot just settle for 3-point shots on the outside. When I say 3-point, I'm not talking about like driving kick. That's a fantastic 3-point shot. I would take that all day. Inside, outside. But if we just coming down, jacking up shots, no. because we not getting the rebound. Now we're 6-7. So we got to be more strategic with the shots that we take.
Did they ball screen Angel Reese enough, do you think?
They did. I think that for her, one, we ran. Two, when she came back from her injury, we started ball screening a little bit more. We didn't start that way. But I felt like we started ball screening a little bit more in the second half than we did in the first half. And I also really, really liked how she brought up Hannah into the high post. I'm a big fan of that. Why? Because it opens up our back doors a little bit more. It opens up that baseline a little bit more. So I love that.
Dragus44, thank you again for the super chat. Do appreciate that. And we're here talking Iowa UConn, the Final Four weekend that awaits in Cleveland, Ohio. And we want to welcome a good friend of mine, Tom Kakert of HawkeyeReport.com, who is joining us. Tom, welcome. Good to see you.
Corey. Hey, Kachine. How are you guys?
We're
good.
We're hanging in there. We're looking forward to tomorrow night, and I know you've got a hardworking team that's already working hard. The media availability today out in Cleveland, and you're kind of representing your party back home. But can you talk a little bit about what we know based on the scuttlebutt today regarding Molly Davis? So we haven't talked about her availability yet. I know there was a viral video going around on social media with her getting emotional on the bench following a shoot around. Carter in the chat says it looks like she was at today's practice with knee brace, and she's not officially been ruled out. But what are you hearing as it relates to her injury, Tom?
Haven't heard much more than she's questionable. I kind of doubt she's going to play, but that's just a guess. We'll know more tomorrow, but my gut feeling is she's not going to play. But I hope she does. I hope she plays because I want her to get out there at least one more time and give herself some closure at least. That's the thing that stinks is she. Nobody wants to go out that way. They don't want to be wheeled out there in a wheelchair on senior day and never get to play again on the court. You want to see her get a moment and get a chance to go out the way she would want to go out. So hopefully that happens.
I would assume at this point, and maybe you can both weigh in on this, but I would assume at this point, what's holding her back is the doctors clearing her, right?
Yep. That's my guess. I mean, if it was up to her, she'd probably be out there, but it's the doctors that are going to protect her, and they should. That's their job, is to protect the players, because players will want to go out. Kachine will speak to this. They want to go play. You just want to play, right? You're playing hurt or whatever. You're going to be out there going.
Cash, what, from your perspective, you've obviously been through it. What is it like having a teammate like Molly who's sidelined during a crucial part of the season? I mean, this is as crucial as they get, but what can her leadership, regardless of if she steps foot on the court tomorrow night, what can she still mean to the team tomorrow?
Wisdom. At the end of the day, she's got a different perspective on how to help a Kylie or a Taylor or even a Gabby, right? Like, she still has wisdom in that aspect, and she needs to use it. When you go down and you're injured, you should switch to kind of being a coach, if that makes sense, like a teammate coach, but still the same. What are you seeing out there based off of your offense and how you run it? And I think that's where she can be beneficial to us, because I think Molly is a very smart individual, especially basketball wise. So she needs to be able to share that with her teammates.
And on the flip side of that, how helpful would she be if she was full go or 75 or 80%, her ball handling skills, her ability to kind of get into interesting mid-range spots and find her shot? I mean, like, how essential could she be to a victory tomorrow?
I think that's self-explanatory. I think we all have seen it. I think we all know where she could help us, taking the pressure off of Caitlin so she doesn't have to bring the ball up all the time, facilitating the offense, knocking down her timely threes, that little floater. I'm sure everybody's missed that. So yeah, we miss her in a multitude of ways.
And Tom, your team got to spend some time talking to some people today, including Lisa Bluter. What did you decipher or discern from the overall tenor of this team about 24 hours out from the game?
You know what I thought was interesting is Lisa admitted that maybe they tried to do too much the first time they made the Final Four last year, and that maybe they've scaled back what they were doing, and maybe they just felt like maybe they spread themselves a little bit too thin, and she's kind of curtailed some of the activities that they had done last time. Maybe they were going to pass on some of those things to get off their feet, get a little more rest, maybe spend a little more time film study, just doing that differently. I thought that was interesting and kind of revealing from Coach Bluter that she admitted maybe they needed to approach it. But I get why they did the stuff last time, because you never know if you're going to be back, and it's one time, and you want to soak every ounce of that in, and that's the natural human thing to do, is to take part in all those things. So, will that make a difference in the outcome of any game? I don't know, but she seems to think it was at least something that they've learned from.
I was a little bit surprised now, and in retrospect, I'm not, but I was a little bit surprised when I heard that they were going straight from Albany to Cleveland. Is that just location wise?
Yeah.
I guess this could be for either one of you. Is that just based on location?
Yeah, it's location, because what was the sense if they were going to turn around and leave the next day anyway for Cleveland? So why not just go there and just get there and get comfortable, and instead of having to come home and maybe have to deal with headaches of people calling you and bugging you about different things, or whatever, and your bags are packed, you're ready to go, just go to Cleveland.
And firsthand account, based on what Tom said, that was me. That was me Tuesday morning, reaching out to Sports Information, trying to get an interview with either Jan or with Lisa, and of course the response was they're not available. They're heading straight to Cleveland. Understand totally. And Kachine, from a player perspective, we've talked about this gap in between. Does going straight from one site to another without going home, I would imagine that plays to your advantage as a player, just because you're able to kind of keep zoned in, as so to speak, as opposed to allowing distractions back home.
Yeah, you nailed the head on. Right, you nailed it. At the end of the day, I wouldn't say it's location as much as far as like timing, because even if they were playing California, they were still going straight to California just because of the timing of it. It just doesn't make sense to go home to then leave again. And all the teams did it. Everybody went straight from wherever they was at and went back, because it just didn't make sense for them to do that. Now, I think it's beneficial because, like you said, you're just locked in. Like, you're still on a away trip. You're still on that mission where if you go home, your friends, you relax, you kind of, your mind comes off of it, where if you just stay on it, plane, bus, hotel, living out of suitcase, you just in it. So I think that everybody was on that train.
Last thing for me, Tom, and then if you have anything else that you thought was noteworthy to share from media or scuttlebutt you're hearing from your guy Kyle over in Cleveland, feel free to share it. But I want to ask you specifically about recruiting. Have not brought this up yet with Kachine on the show, but Haley Van Lith entering the transfer portal today. Yep. That news breaking a few hours ago. We know that there are rumors out there about Iowa already looking into a couple options via the portal. I think it's pretty much a consensus that they need to use the portal more than they did last year with the departures of Molly and Caitlin Clark. So what can you tell us based on can you tell us anything about the efforts you're hearing Iowa's making right now as it relates to the portal? And could Haley Van Lith be on that short list?
Potentially. I think it's something they're going to at least look at and discuss as a staff, bringing her in. The big thing that happened was Aaliyah Guyton, the freshman who was coming in, tore her ACL this year. So it's hard to count on her to play point guard next year, coming off the ACL. So you could, go out, potentially get a Haley Van Lith and come in and she'll play right away and help them for 1 year. And that gives that kind of bridge year for Guyton to get healthy. And maybe she can play a little bit during the year, but there's less pressure on her to come in and make an immediate impact. And you have a veteran who could come in. So there's, but it's going to be a competitive marketplace for her. It just is. There's going to be SEC schools that are going to be after her. I've heard there's some other Big Ten schools that might be interested in her coming in. So we'll see. We'll see if they can, I think UCLA might be in the mix for her. We'll see what takes place. But I would think that Iowa would be an attractive option for her just because she can come in. And I know that here's the other thing that I'm pretty positive, and I thought it was interesting that Beth Getz put out a statement or whatever it was, an email today, kind of endorsing the Iowa Swarm. And just talking to a few people, it sounds like if women's basketball wants to do some things in the free agency market of the portal, that the resources would be there. And there's no better time people want this to continue. They fall in love with this program, and everybody's interested, and it's the only thing people talk about right now. We're in the middle of spring football, and usually that would dominate conversations, and I can't get anybody to talk spring football with me. Everybody wants to talk about Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall and Hannah Stokey and Sita Folter. They want to talk about the young ladies that are captivating the country, and they're going to strike while the iron's hot, I would hope. But Lisa is going to be, and Cash could probably speak to this, she's not just going to go find a hired gun. It's got to be somebody who's going to fit the culture of the Iowa program at some level, because she doesn't want you spend 20 plus years building a culture that you want. You don't go out and just pick somebody up just to pick somebody up because they got a lot of talent. They got to fit with Iowa. And that's going to be, maybe they have to go out of their comfort zone a little bit and take a risk here, but it's going to be an interesting decision for Lisa and Jan and the rest of the staff.
And Cash, can you comment on that as it relates to cultural fit? You don't know Haley Van Lith personally, I don't think, but you know quite a bit about her. Do you foresee, just on your own intuition, that Iowa would be interested? I think it's a logical, surmising that maybe, hey, she fills a 1 year gap that they have with a couple of players who are at the point guard position set to be at Iowa next year, but coming off injuries.
They better not call her.
They better not.
No, I do not think she's a fit at all for Iowa. Well, number one, besides the whole fit thing, we saw her turn from a 2-guard to a 1-guard at LSU. We saw how that happened. We don't need a 2-guard. We need a point guard. So I don't think that she is what we're looking for right now. We need a 1 or a 5. We can't. We good in between. So for me, I need a point guard. I need somebody who's going to run our team. Go look up Caitlin off of Princeton or something. Go give me somebody who can run our team, get us where we need to be, and run our team. This is what we need. So for me, I feel like although Haley Van Lith is going to have tons of people knocking down her door, Iowa does not need to one of them. That is just my thought on that. But we need somebody. And I know that Lisa Bluter, I agree with you, is going to be very picky and she's always been that way, even from recruiting freshmen. Like she's always been like that, with really taking her time to figure out who fits and fits into the culture, fits into the team aspect, fits into all of that, fitting into Iowa City, like everything. And so for me, I think that she's going to take the same approach, because one bad apple can ruin everything. So I know she takes that very seriously. I just hope there's somebody in the portal that fits, because we need somebody.
The Kentucky point guard is another option. I know they've been looking at, and they have a new coach coming in, and the new coach. It sounds like the Virginia Tech coach going in there is going to bring his point guard with him. So
she is. I don't know why anybody thinks she's going anywhere else. Georgia Moore is going to Kentucky. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, it would be nice, right? Like it would be so nice. But she's going to Kentucky. Her and Kenny Brooks are like, I mean, apple pie and ice cream. Like they, I mean, they go together. So she's off the board. I don't. I'm just waiting for her to make an announcement.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. So that's why I was thinking the Kentucky point guard, who had a pretty good season. His name is escaping me right now, but is a potential possibility. I think.
I can't think of her name either.
Well,
yeah,
it's funny you say that because I appreciate Roy kind of tipping me off on this. Per her Instagram, Georgia Moore has just committed to Kentucky. So,
well,
there you go. So she is officially. I mean, officially is.
I was just waiting on it. Okay, I was just waiting on her to put her little graphic up. That you know.
Yep. Well, she's got her little graphic up, Cash. So
let me graphic.
Anyway,
yeah.
Maybe the Kentucky guard becomes more of an option. Tom, anything else that you think is relevant here that you'd like to share before we let you go?
I just the feeling I get talking to some people today is they really like Iowa's chances tomorrow. Just because UConn's short on their bench. Hannah has a chance to have I think a pretty solid game against their bigs, and they're really limited. So, with Leah Edwards being really their only big that plays a ton of minutes, and I suspect Iowa's going to try that same philosophy they did successfully against LSU, and that's just push that ball at breakneck speed and make them run with you. And because I was talking to some people who were sitting courtside, and they'd heard Kate Martin say during the game, they're tired. Keep running. And that's what they did. They just kept sprinting down the court and beating them down the court. And I think UConn will be more interested in playing both ends of the floor than LSU was. LSU just was interested in playing one end of the court. They weren't interested in playing defense and getting back on defense. And UConn will be more disciplined in that. But, their big has to stay out of foul trouble. They just have to. So I look for a lot of Hannah. I don't know that we'll see much from Addie or AJ. It just doesn't seem like a game that they would fit into. But, Iowa may play a little bit of small ball, kind of just go after it. And Gabby's going to guard Paige Beckers, which I think we all figured would happen. And I think that'll be an interesting matchup. But I think Iowa's going to be playing Sunday afternoon.
Well,
so there you go.
Tom, we appreciate you being here, and wouldn't that be a storyline? You get Iowa back in the national championship and against the South Carolina team they knocked off a year ago. The storylines don't seem to stop with this team.
Hey, don't let Wes Moore hear you say that. Do not let Wes Moore hear you say that. He's taking names right now.
Do not count NC State out now. Do not count them out. South Carolina almost lost to Indiana. They almost lost to Oregon State if old girl ain't getting foul trouble. So don't count them out.
I'll tell you what, if it's Iowa, North Carolina in that championship game, Iowa's the favorite. And I mean, it's crazier things have happened. I can't think of a ton, but with Caitlin Clark, anything's possible. We've learned that. So Tom Caker to HawkeyeReport.com. Everybody be sure to go over to Hawkeye Report and check out his work. You can follow him at Hawkeye Report, and his guy, Kyle Huseman, over in Cleveland right now, providing great coverage. Tom, enjoy the weekend, and best of wishes to the platform. I know you guys are staying busy like we are.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Appreciate Tom hopping on here for a few minutes and giving some reaction from media availability earlier today. And we are going to answer a couple of questions. We've got people in the chat. We've got a few super chats to get to here. D. Rollison. Thank you, D. Rollison. Other than 24 wrestling championships and a few minor sports, our only other major championship was football in 58. Enjoy this time. Let's go Hawks. Yes, national championships, just chances at national titles don't come around every day. And especially undisputed national championships, right? And we start going back into the olden era and you have disputed championships and all these different services in football naming their national winners and national champions. It gets a little muddy. So thank you for the super chat, D. Rollison. Great point. Everybody, this is just icing on cherry. I mean, you talk about a second straight Final Four appearance, what they did to get here, how they did it, what Caitlin Clark did to get here. Just enjoy tomorrow night. Lemansky, appreciate the super chat from you. Experience matters. UConn, 2 freshman starters, 2 freshmen on the bench. Hawks battle tested for Final Four. The flip side of that, Kachine, is Iowa is very veteran yet again. Yep. They really don't play freshmen at all. I mean, they don't play freshmen. They don't have any freshmen that they play. How important is that when you look at, even though it's an experienced staff, you have an experienced couple of players like Aaliyah Edwards and Paige Beckers. How much will that play into a game of this magnitude?
I mean, maturity and experience always matters because when you've been there, done that, you don't panic. So, which is what I said earlier, is what happened in the LSU game. We did not panic when they went on a 10-0 run. There's a reason. And I think that when you've done that, you have a different level of how you approach the game.
All right. So before we go to our next line of questioning and interrogation or whatever we want to call it, we need to Kachine has taught me a lot as it relates to the sport. She's also taught me a lot as it relates to marketing. You are a good marketer.
Hey! Come on, give me my numbers.
You are you are a good marketer, and so we need to do what we did the other day, and I need to do a better job of this in general. Please go hit the like button. We've got about 500 people watching right now. Please head over. Well, I don't have to go anywhere. You just scroll down. You just scroll down and hit the little thumbs up button. Yes,
I'm waiting for my numbers, Corey.
Oh, we're at 117.
People and how many likes?
We have 117 likes, 500 watching right now.
Okay, I need 400. That's our goal for today. Last time y'all blew it out the water. I said 7 and y'all went 1,000, which is warmed my heart. So I mean, my goal is 400.
Even though, even if you're not comfortable going out of your shell and doing things like hitting a little button on the screen, this is the team's 3rd Final Four appearance in the history of the program. So, you know what? Celebrate by hitting that little like button below the stream. So, if you're not gonna do it for me, do it for the spunky co-host on my right side. So, thank you, Cash.
Yeah, as you said, a like is a hi to Cash. So say hi to me, y'all. Say hello, 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 hello.
A like is a hi to Cash. Right now, I'm not getting any. My live stream is not updating, so I think we've added, but I can't tell. Yeah, we're up to 188. Let's keep getting those likes to run in. Folks.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Jen, thank you for the super chat. We love you too, and you're a premium member here, so I appreciate you because you're here for not just women's basketball coverage, but throughout the year as me and my cohorts do our best to try to siphon content down to you, whether it be Hawkeye women's basketball, men's basketball, football, and the like. We got some baseball coverage, I'm sure, down the pipeline this spring. So appreciate you being here, Jen, and thanks for being a premium subscriber. Let's go to our phone line. We've got a couple people who have been waiting a long, long time. Ooh. Thank you for calling Hawkeye Hangout with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
Christy.
Hi, Christy.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. Calling in from lovely Gilbert, Arizona today. So excited to join you guys.
How is Gilbert, Arizona on this fine Thursday evening?
It's 70 and sunny because we don't shovel sunshine. So
Well, I shouldn't have asked the question because now I'm
Boo.
Kachine, what's I mean, you both are. Kachine, what's the temperature in Charlotte right
No,
now?
it was cold today. I could have walked out with the Snuggie on. It was like 50s. It was cold.
Well.
This past weekend, it was like 80s though. So I'm just mad right now. Hit me up this weekend. I'll be happier.
Yesterday we had what did we have, like 50 degrees, but we had wind advisory for 50-mile-per-hour winds. I don't know what was higher, the temperature or the winds yesterday. So, anyways, Christy, sorry to go on a tangent about weather, but
no, it's
ahead.
okay. I'm originally from your neck of the woods. I'm from Pocahontas, Iowa. So,
oh sure, yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh,
but my question is for Kachine.
Okay.
So you had talked earlier about there maybe being two kind of choices that UConn might run against Iowa. And I was just curious, like, if you could tell us what you think they might do in those two choices.
Oh, you're a listener, aren't you? Okay. So the first choice is to take away Caitlin Clark. So that means you are throwing everything you have at her. She is not going to score in that sense. Like, we're going to throw double teaming the ball screens. We are getting the ball out of her hands. Somebody else is going to have to make a play. The second way of doing it is to say, Caitlin, go score as many points as you please. We're going to obviously play defense, but we all know playing one-on-one defense against Caitlin, it doesn't work out for many people. So we are going to let Caitlin do Caitlin, and we are going to stop everybody. So that means when Caitlin goes into the lane, we are not helping. So that she can dish it off to the 3 or dish it off to the 2 or anything of the sort. So in that retrospect, you're taking away everybody else and pretty much betting on one person can't beat us. That's the two different ways I think that you play Iowa in the sense of defensive minded, because you can't just become aggressive like a West Virginia. You can't. That's just not, you either have it or you don't. So you can't do that. So if we're talking about UConn, those are like the two ways that I can see them trying to disrupt us. I know this because when I was in my junior year, when we played Stanford, that was the first time I heard about one of those ways. Tara Vanderveer did the same thing to us. They said, Cash, you go score as many points as you please. We are not going because nobody else could create for themselves. I was the creator. I was driving, dishing for threes to Jamie Prenny, to Camille Walleen, but if they never helped, I couldn't dish to anybody. So they were like, she can't beat us by herself. And I mean, I had ended up with almost 30 points and the rest of my team struggled. So there's a way of doing both. You just have to decide which way you're going to run it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but for UConn, because they're so short in their ability to rotate their players in and out, I mean, doubling down on Caitlin, leaving everyone open, they're not going to be able to. Well, I guess my question is, will their defense be able to keep up with the Iowa offense if they're double teaming up on Caitlin and leaving everybody else to score, because everyone else can score?
You're right. They can. But you're banking on, I'm okay with if we lose to the supporting cast. I'm not okay with if we lose to Caitlin Clark. Does that make sense? So, if we get beat by Gabby Marshall going 5 for 7, right? If we get beat for Gabby Marshall going 5 for 7 and Sid Falter going from the 3-point line and Sid Falter having 25 points, well, hell, it just wasn't our day. Like, a lot of people, sometimes you have to pick your poison with Iowa. You can't have it both ways. You cannot, because Caitlin is going to pick you apart. If she drives into the lane and you help, you know for a fact that she is going to dish it off. If you don't help, she's just going to take a layup. But 2s are less than 3s. Yeah. So you've got to figure out which way you're going to play it. I am not going to give Caitlin Clark open 3s. So she's going to have to drive to the basket. Now, what do I do when she drives to the basket? Are we helping? Are we not helping? Or are we stunting and getting back and making her think about it? So there's a couple ways to do it, but you got to decide. You got to pick your poison. What are you going to do? let Caitlin go off and shut everybody down, including Kate? Or do we just say, we're going to get the ball out of her hands and make somebody else make a play? Make Kate become a point guard. Make, Gabby Marshall become a point guard. Make somebody else do that. Because now they're out of their comfort zone.
That goes back to the Molly Davis discussion and where I think teams have been ineffective. Not that they, through our first, what are we in, 5 games in now, or 4 games in, that teams have not tried to do that, but they have not been successful at taking advantage of the fact that they don't have a true ball handler on the team other than Caitlin Clark. So with the 4 days of preparation, I would think, assuming Molly doesn't play, that UConn's going to try to expose the ball handling skills or lack thereof of Caitlin's teammates.
And just one thing, I'll let you go. I don't know if you guys noticed this in the last game, but I did notice that Sydney Affolter really stepped up and actually brought the ball up the court a couple of times. And so I didn't know if you see her kind of stepping more and helping Caitlin in that role going into this game.
I think that she right now should be our next option to help. One, because Sid is a very smart, tactical player in the sense of she's going to make the right decision. She's going to use her strength to her advantage. So the defense can't just take the ball away from her. So I do think I agree in the sense of I think that she can take a little bit more of the role. As far as her starting our offense, I'm not sure. I think Lisa Bluter is going to have to help in that aspect and call things that allow her to just flow into it. Like not just have a play call where she's got to set everything up, like not like that. But if our offense, our motion offense, where she can just flow into it naturally, I think we'd be able to do that.
All right. Well, thanks, Kachine. Thanks, Corey. I appreciate your time, and go Hawks.
Thank you, Chrissy. Appreciate the call.
Go Hawks.
Absolutely. Appreciate
that was a great caller.
Good questions.
She was a great caller.
Absolutely. And Christy, I was going to tell her, I know I cut her off, but I can tell you the mega Pocahontas statue in the thriving metropolis of Pocahontas, Iowa is still standing. I believe is it called the Family Table restaurant in Pocahontas, I believe is still open. We drive through Pocahontas almost every time we go to Okoboji. So I don't even know. Was there like 400 people in Pocahontas? Maybe there's a few more than that. But anyways, I know exactly where you're from. So good to hear from you all the way from Gilbert, Arizona. And RC says, Kachine in here with the drip. Yeah, she's got that Snuggie going. And by the way, for people who are wondering, because I did see the comment from Lonnie, the pink Snuggie is in the works. We're working on that. So I am not going to be showing up in a pink Snuggie, Lonnie. I promise you that. But perhaps Kachine will. Now, I don't know that we're going to be able to get it to her before the Final Four, but we will get it at some point, and that will force Kachine to be a part of this show past this postseason. So, anyways, all right, we're going to get to more of your calls, more of your questions. We got several people on hold, and we can't be here all night. Kachine has got a life other than just talking. So, anyways, we're going to continue this, folks. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. You're watching Hawkeye Hangout with special guest Kachine Alexander. Let me introduce you to one of the proud supporters of From the Hawkeye of the Storm, Iowa floor covering down in Bondurant. Now, for the last year and a half, you've heard me talk about this great company in the heart of central Iowa. They've got their tough core, click together, 4.5 millimeter waterproof vinyl flooring, great for you DIYers out there. But even if you're just a contractor or you need a different type of flooring, they've got you covered, whether it be tile showers, carpet. Give Iowa Floor Covering a chance to serve you better and serve your flooring needs. Visit them online at iowafloorcovering.com. That's iowafloorcovering.com. Or you can give them a call at 515-379-7000. That's 515-379-7000. Thank you to Iowa Floor Covering in Bondurant. Appreciate Iowa Floor Covering, and Tyler is a great guy. One of the owners of that great small town, or not really a small town company. It is Bondurant's not a real big area, but They are serving people in the metro area proudly, and as a proud sponsor of this show. Just had a conversation with Tyler here about 2 hours ago, and he is, of course, as excited as anyone else is about this women's basketball team. He made a comment to me that I thought was very interesting. I don't think Tyler would mind me repeating this, but he does. It's not really a comment, more so than just a question, Cash. I know you've made the comment that everybody seems to just click with this team and everybody's united. Obviously, they've had so much success. You expect that to be the case with the culture. But at the same time, the stardom, the star power of Caitlin Clark and everything she's brought to this program could at times put strains on certain relationships, one would think. Is there any suspicion that that has occurred through all this success of the last few months? I know we've talked about it in the past, but do you see any signs of like, okay, maybe we're getting a little tired of Caitlin Clark and her effect, or are we just living in the moment?
Are we talking about Iowa fans or are we talking about people?
I'm talking about her teammates. I'm talking about her teammates. Is there any like natural?
Nah, I don't think so, because these girls live with her. And they do everything together. They're different than what we see on the outside. And they see her put in the work way probably more than they do. You know what I'm saying? To get to where she is, and you got to respect it. No matter what, you have to respect it. And I mean, as much as people want to say negative things about Caitlin as a teammate or whatever it is, clearly she's not. Because you can't fake the genuineness that the girls show her. So I don't think so. I think the outside is, but definitely not. You can't get between that circle.
I do think it was a valid question on his part, because this is so unprecedented, having somebody so larger than life, like Caitlin Clark, and she's been here 4 years, and you have other people emerging like Sydney Afalter, even Addison O'Grady in this last game. She was really good. I mean, comment was brought up. I believe it was Tom that brought it up here a minute ago, Kachine, that maybe we don't see Addison O'Grady. I have a hard time imagining we're not going to see her following what she did the other day.
We're going to see her. And she can guard an Angel Reed. She can guard an Aaliyah Edwards. So, yeah, we're going to see her. Yeah.
All right. Harulin wants to know, how do we defend UConn? And I know a couple comments were made about Gabby. It sounds like Gabby's going to be the primary defender on Paige. T-Hink says, throw Gabby on Paige and lock her down. Is it as simple as that, Cash? We've talked about Gabby's struggles laterally, staying in front of driving guards. It's obviously something that Paige can do. I'm sure it's not just that simple. Like, we're going to give this assignment to Gabby and worry about the other four.
No, I think if that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do, is put Gabby on Paige. It seems to be the running theme around here. So, but I do think she's not going to, well, hell, she played 40 minutes the last game, so maybe she will be on her the whole game. I don't know. But I you know how I feel about Sydney and her defense. So it might be something we look at if we get into a situation. So, but if they want to start her on her, it is what it is. I mean, they've got other people Sydney can guard it. So, but as far as defense is concerned, I don't think there's anything out of the way that we've got to be like locked in on, you know? UConn isn't like they do one thing really, really, really well. They're just detailed, and they're similar to us. They just don't have the three-point shooting capabilities that we do, and they don't run like we do. So they're similar as far as personnel goes. They have a big-time player in Paige. We have a big-time player in Caitlin. Their post player is a little bit better than ours, but we have better shooters. So it's like, it's kind of that give and take. I still feel really great about us, but it's not like when I say mismatch, don't light me up in the comments, people, but it's not like the mismatch of LSU where they're so like post dominant, where they rebound the crap out of the ball. Like that was a complete mismatch as far as like the identities of the teams.
I think it's a fair assessment. We keep talking about the lack of depth for UConn. It's not like Iowa's this incredibly deep team. They may have more of players available in a sense, but I mean, how many players are we really seeing? We're seeing basically a 6 to 7 player rotation, right?
Right.
In general.
Yep.
And that's pretty much where it ends. So it's not like Iowa's a lot deeper. I don't know you're real comfortable. If they're not comfortable with, Taylor McCabe getting a few spot minutes against LSU, maybe they're more comfortable in this game. Just because of it's a little bit different style UConn's going to throw at you, of course. And Terry brings that up. He says, great show, Corey, Kachine. How do we match up player by player with UConn? What are the pros and cons of the matchup? Aaliyah Edwards is someone who averages nearly a double-double. Paige Beckers obviously is going to be facilitating a lot. With that being said, as good as Paige is, that team does turn the ball over, I think, 13 times per game on the season. But how would you rate pros and cons of those individual matchups? I know you kind of ran through that a little bit. Maybe the canceling out effect of Aaliyah Edwards versus Hannah Stolke, etc. Are there any matchups that Iowa can take advantage of, or maybe the opposite, UConn will have the advantage with?
We can still take the advantage of Hannah with Aaliyah Edwards, because Aaliyah Edwards is always in foul trouble. She always in foul trouble. So just in that aspect, we can get her in foul trouble that way. And it's not going to be as hard for Hannah to score over her as it was an Angel Reese with Angel's shot blocking ability. So I think we can get her in foul trouble that way. I think that Hannah can run the floor and beat her down the floor. I think that, like I said, I think our guards are better shooters. Paige and Caitlin, we're just going to wash them out, right? We're just going to wash them out. So it's really about everybody else. I think Sydney, she been huge. So I'm going to just say that. Sydney is going to continue to be huge for us in our runs, because I'm not sure who they're going to put on her. If it's a freshman, even better. But if it's somebody else, I still think that she wins that battle. I don't think they have anybody that beats her in the one-on-one battle, if that makes sense.
Let's go back to our call-in line. James is on hold. James, welcome.
Hey, what's up? My bad. Sorry, I was muted for a second.
Welcome.
First off, Cash, question I got is, I know Iowa likes to mix up defenses a lot, right? With man and zone, How much zone do you think they go tomorrow, if they go to zone at all? Because obviously I think we'll see it eventually. I just don't know how much we'll see of it. How much do you think we'll see of Iowa going into the zone?
It's always a hard thing to measure, because foul trouble changes that. There's so many different things that go there. I don't think they go into the game thinking that they're going to play more than 70-30, like 70 man, 30 zone. I don't think they're going to go in there with more than that. But again, like I said, things change.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you have to play Taylor or Kylie in the game, it might make you go to zone more, just because you're not as good of on-ball defenders, and you kind of got to disguise them a little bit, if that makes sense. But no, it'll be interesting to see. And like Corey was saying, we don't really go that deep anyways. And how much faith do we have on Addie being in there if we need to run the floor? Because I don't know how much she's ran the floor. Like, she doesn't have to run the floor as much when she's in there as they do when Stokes is in there.
I don't need her to run the floor. It's okay. True. We got other people to run the floor, like Sita Falter. Now, don't discredit my girl, because she ran the floor and got a wide open layup over.
Yeah. She did. When she does it, she does a good job, but they don't do it as much when she's there.
She got one.
Yeah.
So, she doesn't need to. She's in her job is to do just that. Be a force on the block like she was in the LSU game. When Hannah gets in the game, her job is to run their butts. Yeah. That's what her job is.
For sure, and you can kind of tell the difference when one's in and the other one's in. And the fact of, Addie did have that one, but she doesn't really run as much, or she more trails sometimes and then tries to find her spot when she's trailing. She'll get down the post when she gets there eventually. It's not like they tell her just run out in front. It's the way I can just run out in front. Addie's more just when she gets there kind of thing, if that makes sense. But but it'll be interesting to see, and I'm just happy we got this far. And it sucks for Molly probably not being able to play, but it's just everything she did for us. What she did for us this year kind of got us to the point in the fact of like she got us those wins. She helped us get some of those wins. She helped us get to this point. So it's definitely no discredit to her, as far as we make it. And if we win the whole thing, we win the whole darn thing for her. I mean, it's part of the reason you can win the whole darn thing is for her. She can't play no more, so you can use that a little bit as motivation too. But I know they have a lot of girls out too, so they have motivation on that aspect of things too. But what's your thoughts on tomorrow? Like, I'm confident, but I also know it's basketball. You never know what can happen, right?
Well, I mean,
That's the reason why
I'm confident, but I would never. First of all, I would never gamble on any game. But I am confident to an extent. I think with Paige Beckers, there isn't. I think where maybe some people do overlook her talent, and we say the same thing about Caitlin Clark. Like when you have a great player that can take over a game, you never know what you're going to get. So could she? I mean, could she potentially? But I don't. I hope not. I think Iowa wins, but I also think I don't think it's going to be a blowout like Ryan shared earlier. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, it'll be a hard-fought battle because I think every team from here on out is a hard-fought battle. You're all about the same team, I mean, maybe South Carolina's a little bit better than everybody just because their size and everything. But I mean, like everybody's pretty much close to each other. You don't get this far without being in battle contest or in close contested games and in battles, So.
Yep, absolutely.
But all right, enjoy your night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully, I talk to you a happy mood. Hopefully, we get the win tomorrow, so we can all be happy on this post game show. But enjoy your night and appreciate you getting on. And everybody that hasn't pressed that like button, make sure to press that like button so we can get them to that goal. And
yes.
Talk to y'all later.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it, sir. Yeah, good stuff.
Just FYI for everybody in the comments right now, this is not my shoe rack. I am in the guest room. My shoe rack I got like 6 of those in my thing. So no, this is an extra. I got too many clothes.
Are you ashamed of that shoe rack behind you?
No, I'm just trying. Somebody was trying to say they got more shoes than me. No, you don't. I bet you don't. Hey, I bet you don't. Call it a problem, call it an obsession, whatever you want. But it is what it is.
All right. So, Ander MC. Corey not displaying the chat tonight. I do the best I can with the chat. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. I try to get through them, but we have to prioritize the super chats. All right. So, if you have a comment that you definitely want on the screen, super chat. We'll definitely address it. Definitely. If it's a question, we'll definitely address it. I cannot guarantee that with the non-super chats. It's just we don't have time. Again, we've got a bunch of people waiting on hold. We're trying to not keep Kachine here all night. I don't want to be here all night either. I mean, Kachine, you want to be here all night. I mean, you want to just live your life on the internet, don't you? It's just endless. Never mind. All right. So a couple things here. First of all, super chat from Lemansky. Thank you, Lemansky. Shout out to Coach Vivian Stringer, awarded Naismith Lifetime Award this past week. Historical pillar of Iowa Hawkeye basketball, and she sure is. What did you know about Vivian Stringer? See Vivian Stringer and just what she meant to Hawkeye hoops before you got here, Kachine?
Man, her teams we were trying to get back to that moment, and we haven't been that until now. They were the last Final Four before last year, and that was always the goal. So the fact that she kind of put Iowa on the map back then can never repay her for that one.
Thank you, Lemansky, for that super chat. Angela, thank you for the super chat. Any chance North Carolina State can upset South Carolina? Go Hawks. I think you implied that earlier. You think there's a chance that could happen, Cash?
Yeah, I told y'all in the sense of South Carolina is very immature. So they have moments where they have a lot of lapses, and they just haven't had a team that's able to capitalize fully in those lapses. Because like I said, Indiana played them tough, came back. Oregon State was right there. They just got into some foul trouble and that was that. But don't take it for granted. Plus, you got that little situation with Sanaya Rivers. I know she's ready to go. I know she is. So I can't wait to watch. It'll be fun.
Erica, thank you for the super chat. Erica, could you imagine Kachine and Jackson Johnson working together on marketing? As Roy Higgins would say, certified. By the way, when is Roy coming on the show? I can address the second half of I'm a little bit confused in the first half. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm sorry if I am, Erica. Okay, second half of the question. Roy Higgins. I have been in talks with Roy, and I'm waiting on a response. I can tell you that he agreed to come on the show a while back, and I'm sure he's a busy guy. The only thing I can say, I can't hound people, but if you would do me a favor and the show a favor, tweet at him. I know he's very active on Twitter. If you want to see somebody on the show, just send him a tweet or tweet at him directly and say, hey, reach out to Corey. We'll be happy to have someone like Roy on the show. And of course, as we get into spring football and into the season where we're talking more football, certainly that becomes more important. Everybody's just so honed in on this basketball team, and for such good reason. So thank you, Erica, for the super chat. Lonnie, Kachine needs to come out with a Hawkeye Snuggie. I really wish we could have a Snuggie in our merch store. That's something I'll have to look into. I don't know that we can do that. I'm sure that there's some way to maybe we can get a partnership with Snuggie. Is that possible? Is that or maybe I shouldn't ask you this question. Is that a name brand Snuggie, Cash?
Huh? Yeah.
It is a name brand Snuggie? Like it's
yeah, Snuggie. You know, when they first came out with them, you know, you got the full, goes all the way down and the whole thing. Yeah. But I feel like I saw a Hawkeye Snuggie one time in my lifetime, though. I'm going to look that up. That's a very interesting thing, because now I feel like, should I do a Hawkeye Snuggie or should I do a pink Snuggie? Because now I don't know. That just screwed up my whole mentality. Hawkeye Snuggie at the Hawkeye Hangout? Like, come on. That sounds cool, don't you think?
Well, maybe, yeah, we'll have to look into that. But the wheels are turning, right? The wheels are turning on this. We're not forgetting the request and the super chat from Lance.
Barbara said she has 2 Hawkeye Snuggies. Come on, Barbara, put the link in the chat. What you mean? Hook a sister up, please.
Yeah, show us where to get those, Barbara. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Terry, thank you for the super chat. Great show, Corey, Kachine. How do we match up? Okay, we covered this. I'm sorry. I'm the same. Okay. Terry, that just means I love you that much more for the question. And you're a premium subscriber, so thank you, Terry. Tragus44. Yeah. Thank you, Tragus, for the super chat. Going back to your discussion on 2 ways to defend Iowa, do you think Iowa's coaches scheme for both scenarios and then have 2 separate game plans depending on what transpires early? Kachine, how do you feel about that? Is that kind of how Iowa operates or no?
No, I think they're going to have an idea in their mind of how they would like to attack them. But like every game plan, you have to have contingencies. You have to have adjustments. So in-game adjustments are what wins games. So we're going to have to see as far as how they decide to attack whatever defense UConn goes with.
All right, let's go back to our call line. Thank you for calling Hawkeye Hangout with Kachine Alexander. Who's on the line?
Hi, this is Annie from New York.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
Yeah.
Hi, guys. Love your show. I hope tomorrow we have a victory show. I really do.
Wouldn't that be something?
I just want to make a few points. I did read today, I don't know if you read today, that the NCAA is looking into the officiating. And what they want to do is pair veteran refs with newer refs. Now, I don't want to make an issue out of officiating, but we all know what happened last year in the final, but we won't talk about that. But anyway, I just think that that's a pretty good idea, what you think of that. And I also think I'm really happy about Sydney Affolter. I think she's really stepped up down the clutch games for Iowa. I think she'll get the job done tomorrow. I'm very confident in her. And I think Gabby's quickness on defense will work well against Paige. So with that said,
That's my point. And I hope tomorrow it'll be a victory call.
Well, if it's a victory call tomorrow, I may have to get new earbuds because I think Kachine's going to blow mine out. But yeah, good.
I love what you said about Gino. If Caitlin Clark scores 50, he's going to have a conniption.
I think he will.
Because he kind of was joking around about that at the press conference. I thought that was really good.
I really think that Gino's going to have something. I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Numbers. He's going to have something he's not going to handle it like Kim Mulkey handled it. Like, we're not going to be looking away from the game saying, well, what was Gino thinking?
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that.
And Cash, did we make too much out of how Kim Mulkey handled that? She's been dealt a lot of flack over these last couple of days for her game plan.
What the HE double hockey sticks was she thinking? I don't understand why you would put Haley Van Lith on Caitlin Clark. Like, I don't know what your game plan was. I really don't.
I felt so bad. She looked so frustrated near the end of the game, Haley. She really did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She just threw her hands up near the end. It was kind of, and at the press conference, she just really had not much to say. The poor girl.
She ain't made no adjustments.
Yeah. But I like that the NCAA came out today about the officiating because it was so frustrating in last year's final. I mean, they called fouls and had so many of the big plays and foul trouble so early last year. It just wrecked the whole flow of the game. So I just came across that today that they were going to try to improve the officiating. So that's promising.
So what if I may ask, because I didn't see that report, Annie, like what?
I read it on social media, and then there was an article on one of those Hawkeye Facebook pages, either Hawkeye Heaven or because there's so many Hawkeye Facebook pages now. But one of them had an article that said that they were going to try to pair veteran officials with the newer ones, which I think that's a pretty good move compared to last year. But who knows? You know, the consistency of officiating can go either way on any given day. So I'm hoping for the best because that sounded better than last year. But my other point was I'm really confident in Sydney. I really like the way she's been playing lately. She's really been stepping up. And I agree with what Kachine said before. I'm very confident. I was focused. You know, they're very locked in. Once they get on that court, I mean, they just came out smoking against LIU. I hope they can keep that going, that momentum going.
Cash, what were your thoughts? I don't think you and I have ever had this conversation about last year's national championship game as it relates to officiating. I know if I'm not
remember they called fouls immediately. You don't remember that? And
no. I remember the game and how bad it was, but I don't think I've ever had a conversation with Kachine about it. And
okay.
I do think, if I recall, I'd have to go back. I believe that post game, Annie, you probably weren't following this show then, but we had Hawkeye great Sam Logic on the show for post game coverage at that time last year, and Sam was pretty forgiving, and maybe that's just because she didn't want to rock the boat, but she was pretty forgiving as it relates to officiating. Kachine, there were obviously discrepancies, and they were brought out later on a report that there was clearly a number of calls that were missed. Just your thoughts on last year's game, championship game.
Yeah.
You always tell your players to not let the refs dictate how you play. But that game, it would have been very hard to do because some of the calls stopped a run. Some of the calls stopped momentum. Some of the calls were like, what are we supposed to do here? And even just the technical
a lot of key players out of the game too.
Yeah, the technical on what? They just they got caught up in the hype, and I think that dictated everything. They wanted a voice. They wanted to be the stars of the show, and it really.
Oh, I agree with that.
It hurt the game itself. It wasn't as smooth. It wasn't as enjoyable, which is why I think everybody praising the refs from the LSU game because. Although there were some calls, on both ends, they let the flow of the game happen. There wasn't something that was so bad. You know, like there was a couple was like, ooh, I got away with that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't affecting the game in the sense of, you know, negatively. So they let them play. It was a tough physical game. It was battling back and forth, and I think that's why they got the praise there. But don't interject yourself. Your job is to monitor and manage, like not to become a star of the show and you blowing your whistle every possession. No.
Oh, and it just seemed like that in that game, and so such key players got in trouble so early. It just like wrecked the game. And plus, Kim Mulkey was on the court. If you noticed that last year, she was much more subdued this year. I mean, they weren't doing anything about that, you know, and that bothered me also. But I just hope we have some more consistency with the refs. But officiating is always an issue. I don't want to go down that road. I really just hope they do well and we have a happy show tomorrow.
Absolutely, and
you know,
hopefully a couple more happy shows, one at a time, but hopefully a couple more happy shows.
You betcha. I know. Always good to talk to you guys. I hope we can come back tomorrow with a victory.
Thanks, Annie. Appreciate
Have
the
a good
phone
night.
call.
Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. Oh, I got to get to a couple things here in the chat. You're going to like one of these. Kachine.
Yes.
Kai O Hawaii. Regarding Gabby, you two are clueless. You're clueless, Kachine. Let me tell you why you're clueless. Because in chemistry, every element is necessary to manifest. H2O makes water. Without those elements, you don't get water. Gabby is the key element to Iowa's defense, and you, Miss Cash, are clueless.
But when did I say she wasn't though? Like I don't I don't ever remember saying that Gabby wasn't the key to our defense. I've said before that Gabby is our best defender. It's not saying
just think it's hilarious when, and I don't not ripping this user, but Kai O Hawaii, you're telling a former all defensive team player in the Big Ten, like, check yourself, maybe have some self-awareness. Maybe you didn't mean this. Maybe you weren't directing this toward Kachine. Maybe you were directing at me and Tom. And if that's the case, fine. Nobody's ripped Gabby on the show. We simply said her lateral quickness is not that good. Sydney's is better. We've also acknowledged that she's got some incredibly good reaction skills, ball skills, defensive ball skills, ball denial skills. That makes her really good. She's had the knack of blocking shots despite her size. So don't give me this crap about how we're clueless. If this is directed towards Kachine, you're making yourself look clueless and foolish. Lonnie, with
y'all, like I really do. I think that she has been key in some of our games, our latter part of the season, games as far as defensive stops or things like that. I'm never going to take away from a good defensive play ever in life. However, that still does not defeat the purpose of what our argument is. So, yeah, she's our best defender for sure. That doesn't mean she's an elite defender. There's a difference.
And there's also not this massive gap between her and Sydney. They're good at different things.
Right. Yes.
And I would like to see both of them on Paige Beckers at different times tomorrow night.
Yeah, I agree. I do. I think that would give Paige different looks.
Agreed.
You know, because Sydney's not going to be the gnat like Gabby is. It's all over you and hands all over the place and whatever else. She's not like that. She's just going to stay in front of you, make sure you don't get to the basket. Gabby is going to have active hands. She's going to make you think a little bit. So I think having both of them at different times would be good.
Yeah, and I've always wondered, why tip your cap? Like the comment was made today that Gabby's going to be drawing the assignment on Paige. I don't know who said that. If it was a player, if it was Bluter, why would you tip your cap to that the day before the game? Like that makes no sense to me. So I hope for the sake of gamesmanship that was said tongue-in-cheek, and in reality they have a much more involved game plan against Paige Beckers, because that makes no sense. Lonnie, thoughts on Ricky Harris coming to Iowa? Ricky Harris, the transfer from Ohio State, who has entered the transfer portal. She averaged, she's coming off the bench. I don't know a ton about Ricky Harris other than I looked up her average just a little bit ago when I saw she had entered the portal. Do you know much about Ricky Harris? I know she's been in college for 5 years. This is going to be year number 6 using that COVID year.
Oh, I know she was the only one that was trying to pick up Caitlin Clark when she got slammed. That's the only thing I know about her. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing that I don't really remember her on the court.
Well, she earned honorable mention All Big Ten from the media in 2023. Is the one accolade that I saw she did have. Iowa's going to be. I mean, I know there's some that really feel strong. I know Kirk Ferentz feels very strong. I think Fran feels the same way, that it's not right to be poaching teams from your own conference. But now, in this day and age of NIL and the transfer portal, you can't have those rules. I don't think those rules can apply because it's happening everywhere. So I would hope that, Ricky Harris is a consideration, especially because they're going to need her defensively, or need someone defensively. In addition to Sydney Falter, Gabby is gone after this year, so we haven't talked about that. Who's the go-to defender? Tragus 44. Okay, we covered this. I'm sorry. Lemansky gives Sid massive credit for waiting her turn. Speaks well of Sid and Bluter's culture. Agree with that.
Absolutely.
And, Organic Veil Radio. Did anyone notice in the LSU game, Iowa didn't take their first time out until under a minute in the fourth? LSU took their first at the 6-minute mark of the first. Great Cash and Corey as usual. Did you notice that? I actually did. I mean, I could not believe late in the game that Iowa hadn't used a single timeout in the second half. That was the one thing I couldn't believe.
Yeah, I remember Kim Mulkey. She was trying to call that timeout with everything in her body. Because I think it was like 18. I don't even know what it was, but she was, in the Kim Mulkey way. So I definitely noticed that. Now, did I realize during the game that we hadn't taken a timeout? No. It wasn't until we took a timeout that I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's utilizing media timeouts well. I mean, we could have criticized Twitter and the coaching staff had they lost. To our caller on hold.
Hanging up on us.
Yeah. But we could have criticized Lisa Bluter had they lost for not calling timeouts. But boy, that third quarter was really dominant. I think by the time you got to the fourth, if she felt she needed to use one, she was probably going to be comfortable using one of 3, and she didn't. So thank you for the super chat, Organic Veil Radio. And Lemansky coming back with another super chat. I'm in Hawkeye Snuggie on Hawkeye Hangout, worn pink by my Hawkeye hero. Don't mean you, Corey. Sorry. Keep to the black hat. Yes, I will not be showing up in a pink Snuggie. I can promise you that. So don't worry on that. Let's go to our next caller. Brian is on hold. Brian, you've been patient. Thank you for being here, sir.
Hey, guys. How are you guys doing this evening?
We're doing good, sir. How are you?
Good. Hey, Kachine, I found a Snuggie for you online. It's on College Fabric Store.
Drop that link in the chat, Brian. Drop that link in the chat.
Okay, I can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
I just typed in Iowa Hawkeye Snuggie.
Okay.
That's what I'm about to do right now.
Apparently, there are some on Amazon as well. Now, I don't know.
You're welcome.
Don't know if
but there's other ones too, like J&O Fabric and stuff like that. So, I have a couple of things for you, Kachine. What are 3 keys to victory that are you more key on? And then what would you like to see O'Grady do in this game to be effective like she did against LSU?
Run, rebound. I wanted to keep it to all one words, but I can't be that clever. So, run, rebound, and have a fluid offense. That's the best way I can say that. Because we're really good when we get the ball moving. Like, we're really good. We're terrible when nobody's moving and Caitlin Clark is just up at the top of the key. It's too easy to key in on her that way. So when we've got people moving and backdoor cutting and you see all of that movement, that is a fluid offense. So if we have a fluid offense, we rebound and we run, I feel good.
Okay.
Oh, what was your other question again? I'm sorry.
What is O'Grady's what would you like to see O'Grady do to be effective like she did against LSU?
It's a good question, especially given the change in matchup.
Yeah, I would like her to just be solid. Like in what that means is great defense, because I think that's what she brought for us last time. Great defense, not try to do too much on offense. Take what the defense give you. So if Caitlin drives and she disses, easy finish. Easy finishes. That's what I'm going to say. Easy finishes, solid on D. If she can do those two things, I'm good with that.
Okay. And then what about Hannah?
Run.
Okay.
I feel like she has not been running lately. I don't know what's going on or if something's not feeling right or what, but I feel like she has not been running as effective as she has been in the past. What do you think, Corey? Do you see that? Or
has that been since the ankle injury? Could there still be some lingering effects from that?
It's just something I've noticed. Like she just isn't running as hard as she has been.
Kachine, you're a basketball player. You know what it's like to roll on an ankle. And I never played college basketball, but I've had some bad ankle injuries on the court myself. I just know from my amateur experience that I had a bad roll of my ankle. Now wasn't obviously a part of the training and the conditioning that you have at Iowa, but like I remember an injury I had in maybe junior year of high school when my ankle, I think it went out as opposed to in, and it was my left ankle, and I still feel that ankle today. Now that doesn't mean I don't run as well as I did then, but it does. Yeah. It can linger, right, Kachine? You've had ankle injuries.
Yeah, your ankle ligaments don't go back to normal when shot. And they don't. Like your ankles just get looser. It's just how I feel about it. So yeah, she's definitely still feeling the effects, I'm sure. It's interesting because usually with ankles, it's more of the lateral movement that gets you, not like the straight up and down. So maybe there's something else there that, because, if you're laboring one thing, you're going to bother something else. So I don't know what it is. It's just something that I've noticed because I'm like, she should have been running circles around LSU. Those girls ain't running, and so I just feel like we got one out of her, but I felt like more, like she was previously. So I would love to see that out of her. I would love to see her become aggressive again. Kind of the Hannah we saw after she scored 47 points. The games after that, she was just very aggressive, very confident. It seems like she's lost her confidence a little bit.
Okay. And then I got a question for both of you guys about Coach Bluter. When she decides to hang up her clipboard, what's the one legacy would she be talked about a lot, especially with everything that's gone on of taking us to 3 Big Ten tournament championships and 2 Final Fours and possibly beating maybe the 3 best coaches in college women's basketball today?
Well, if she wins a national championship, it's going to be the national championship, right?
Right.
I mean, hopefully that's not even a topic of discussion because we'll know after this weekend that that's what it is. I think getting to the Final Four twice when the program's only been there 3 times, well, before Lisa had been there once. Cash, what do you think your former head coach's legacy will be when she decides to hang it up?
The product she puts on the floor. Because I feel like if you would have replaced her with a Kim Mulkey, I don't think she would have still had the same success with this team or with her teams, period, because of the way that she coaches, the culture, the mental aspect of it that she pours into them, etc. So the product she's able to put on the team with less talent, because they're playing team basketball, I think is a legacy that I would say for her.
Good stuff.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a good evening, and let's go Hawkeyes. Let's get this done.
Go Hawks, Brian. Thank you for calling in, sir. All right, good stuff. We've got one more caller here, and I think we'll be.
What you think of this? What y'all think?
Oh, that's a little bit. It's a little bit in your face. I feel like you need.
I mean, I'm kind of in your face. Like, you kind of matches.
The one you have on, you've got like those little. Are they hearts? What are the little things that are the little red logo things?
Oh yeah.
They're like little.
It's not just true. All right, fine.
I don't know. That's just my thought. Believe me, I'm no fashion expert, so don't.
There's like, there's kind of this one. Look. Uh-oh. Wait. There we go.
See, that's better. Still a little busy. It's still a little busy. All right.
Oh my God. Well, what Iowa Hawkeye Snuggie is not going to be busy?
Well, that's true. That's true. All right.
All right, last caller. Go ahead.
Let's go. Oh, caller hung up. Let's go to.
Oh, no.
Well, we've got a couple. We got DW on the line. DW, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Doing good. How are you, sir?
Doing well. It's been a while since I called in. Yeah, after last game, I got onto this show late, so I went back to the beginning. I listened to the whole show, and I tried calling in. I realized I'm probably way behind, so I just hung up. But I just wanted to tell you, after last game, we beat LSU, my heart felt like it was wrapped in a Snuggie, Kachine. I want you to know that. I felt like my heart was just wrapped in a Snuggie because the way we dominated LSU in that game. So there's that. So my question is this, maybe if it's already been talked about, because I know I'm late again to this show, you guys are about done. I feel after listening to the press conference today of both Iowa and UConn, it sounds like they're going to play Paige Beckers on Caitlin. That's what it was kind of getting that feeling from Gino. What do you guys think if Caitlin was to, when they go into player defense, if Caitlin is on Paige? She's got the length, but does she have the quickness?
I don't want to tire her out, so no thank you. That's my only thing, because Caitlin has such a load, man. Like, for our team, to let her guard their least effective person. Like, could she guard her? Possibly. I mean, height-wise, it should be okay. I don't know. I've never really seen Caitlin in like a best player defensive situation. So partly why I'm very intrigued with her going to the WNBA, because she ain't gonna have no choice. But I've never seen her in that aspect. For the sake of Iowa's success, however, no thank you. I would much rather her save her energy for the offensive side and let Gabby run around like her head is cut off on the defensive side.
And that goes along with what Brandon said in the chat. Like, what is Gino's approach? Because DW said we might see Paige on Caitlin. Why would you want to run Paige ragged when she's one of just 7 healthy players and she's clearly your most important player, similar to what Caitlin Clark is to Iowa?
Yeah, I don't know. I just that's the thing I got. I could just feel. I mean, he's got a depleted bench. He's going to have to throw everything he can at Iowa, and I think Paige is watching the way she guarded Juju against USC. She was pretty tight on the coverage the whole game. So I can see Paige guarding Caitlin. That means we're going to have to run a lot of screens. And as Kachine said, there's plenty of times when our team goes stagnant on offense, and they're just standing around. And if that happens, it's not going to be hard to guard Caitlin. We saw it. We saw it in the Big Ten tournament game, championship game with Nebraska. We saw it when they lost to Ohio State at Ohio State. We even saw it at Nebraska when Nebraska beat Iowa. Iowa just stopped. They just stopped moving. They let Caitlin try to win the game. And so that we cannot fall into that trap for sure.
And an answer to this question from James, not to cut you off, GW, but it has direct correlation with what you're asking. Kylie's not going to play, I don't think, enough to where this is really a factor. Maybe she spots some minutes on Paige. I don't think you have a lot of confidence in her on-ball defense, Kachine. I think I'm a little bit
bad. I don't like the matchup.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't like that either.
A bad defender. I mean, but I agree. I mean, I think your best bet is by rotating Sydney and Gabby on her and keeping a fresh face locked onto her the whole game. I don't think having Gabby on her from start to finish is the way to go either.
Yeah, and I don't like having Sydney on her because we need Sydney for her rebounds. I mean,
Sydney gonna rebound regardless. Sydney is a workhorse.
She is. She's definitely. Honestly, I'm glad to see that she got the All Big Ten tournament team. I'm glad she made the All Regional bracket team. That is awesome. So, all right. Well, I just wanted to come in and ask those questions and see what you guys thought. So, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Appreciate it, sir. And Aaron, we talked about this. Sounds like Paige may get her shot at guarding Caitlin for a while. And see, where's the other comment? Katie, yeah, I think we addressed this. Iowa defending Paige. Hopefully you throw a couple different people at her, but Gabby's certainly going to draw a heavy assignment. I think we addressed this earlier, Dwight. Molly Davis, nothing official, but based on some video footage from shoot-around, it didn't look good when you saw Lisa Bluter talking to her on the bench. We don't know what that conversation was like, but we hope that she can get on the floor at some point. Alicia wants to know why Iowa hides Caitlin Clark on defense.
We just said it.
Well, I mean, and you've got to keep her. You got to keep her on the floor, right?
Yeah. You cannot afford for Caitlin to have to go out because she's in foul trouble or she's exhausted from playing defense on their best player and she can't shoot logo threes because she ain't got no legs. No, thank you. She could go hide in the corner. All right.
And yes, Ottoman. We don't know about Molly Davis, but doubtful tomorrow is the kind of consensus, but nothing official from Iowa. RC says, Corey and Kachine, you guys think Taylor McCabe with her 3-point shooting ability will see the floor or no chance tomorrow?
I think she should. I don't see a reason why she wouldn't right now. Now, during the game, I'll tweet about it, but I think this is a game where she could get some minutes. I do. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe especially if Iowa wants to exploit UConn's lack of depth and you're just like, hey, we're going to run harder and faster than we ever have because we know we can get them in foul trouble and get them gassed, then yeah, you're going to have to go a little deeper than 6. So maybe Taylor is a part of it from that perspective. And I don't think she's physically at the odds that maybe she was up against during the LSU game. I think we addressed this earlier as well, Justin. Kachine feels like North Carolina State has a shot against South Carolina. The Gamecocks have not been as dominant. You look at these scores. And yes, Kim Mulkey did grab an official mid-play last year and did not get called for a technical foul. RC says, don't judge me. I'll sell my own grandmother for a Hawkeyes championship. So that's quite the statement about Mama. And let's see. Ari Gold wants to know what your favorite game or your best game at Iowa was. Do you remember the day? Was it that day you said you went off for almost 30?
Oh, like me as a player?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough one. No, it would have to be my triple-double. When I got my triple-double, because that had happened in Iowa history at the time. Triple-double.
But you got 2. Didn't you get 2 triple-doubles?
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying one of them, the first one, okay. It was a thing in the sense of, oh my gosh, it's 2 in a season. Like, it was a whole thing. And I remember the game we played Penn State. It was Super Bowl, whatever the Super Bowl was. And we went to triple overtime against Penn State. I was exhausted. And I had 27 points, 21 rebounds, and I think 12 or 13 assists, somewhere around there. Yeah, I was tired.
How many turnovers?
Yeah. I don't turn the ball over, so not many. Sorry. I'm just being honest.
All right. I'll tell you what. We're wrapping this show up, folks. We've got Lemansky is on hold. So Lemansky's on hold. I think we're going to fit Lemansky in here at the very end. We do have one more 30-second break. We'll be right back with Lemansky. So everybody hang tight. You're watching Hawkeye Hangout, final segment here as we preview the Final Four. Stay tuned. Kachine, myself, and Lemansky back in just a second. Let me introduce you to one of the proud supporters of From the Hawkeye of the Storm, Iowa floor covering down in Bondurant. Now, for the last year and a half, you've heard me talk about this great company in the heart of central Iowa. They've got their tough core, click together, 4.5 millimeter waterproof vinyl flooring, great for you DIYers out there. But even if you're just a contractor or you need a different type of flooring, they've got you covered, whether it be tile showers, carpet. Give Iowa Floor Covering a chance to serve you better and serve your flooring needs. Visit them online at iowafloorcovering.com. That's iowafloorcovering.com, or you can give them a call at 515-379-7000. That's 515-379-7000. Thank you to Iowa Floor Covering in Bondurant. Appreciate Iowa Floor Covering. We're pushing them long and hard here. This is a very loyal sponsor. They have been with us for so long, been a big part of our coverage throughout postseason and throughout the regular season. So definitely support Iowa Floor Covering and rely on them for your flooring needs. And yes, Ari Gold, thank you. Hit the like button if you are here. Last checked, as we head toward the end of the show, we are at 303 likes. What did you say you wanted? 400?
Oh, I said 400. Come on, guys.
We got 428 people still watching, so I'm pretty sure we can get to the 400 likes. So please hit the like button, folks. Don't send Kachine home, or, well, she's already home, but don't send her camping without the 400 likes. All right, let's go to Lemansky. I know it's Lemansky because I recognize all in line. Lemansky, welcome.
Corey, I hit the like a long time ago. I'm doing my part. Doing all I can for your show.
You're the man.
Hey. Corey, do you own a watch?
Do I want a watch?
Do you own a watch, for God's sakes?
Do I own? I own I own a watch. Do I wear a watch? No. In general, no.
I can tell because you've been on the air 2 hours and 11 minutes.
Oh, I know. I've got a little timer in the corner of the screen that tells me how long I've been in the air.
You never look.
Huh?
You never look at your little thing in the corner.
Oh, I look at it. I look at it. I look at it. If I don't say it's not going to be 2 hours, then it'll end up being 3 hours. And you're the one calling 2 hours into the show, Lemansky. So what of it?
I want to be part of the show. I like when you get snotty. You're very charming when you're snotty.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I want to be on the show. I can call you when time's up, even though Kachine could go 3. You know, she's got commitment to the show, but you need your beauty sleep, Corey.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't need my beauty sleep, Lemansky.
Are you kidding me? You could go 24 hours a day and you'd look better than me.
Well, that's not saying much, Lemansky.
I just teed you up, big boy. Just want to tee you up once in a while for your humor.
Oh, well, I appreciate it, Lemansky.
I'm going to end with this so people don't start talking bad about me in the chat, which I can do that. Have you sent Kachine the shirt that I sent money in for her shirt?
It's not his fault. It's me.
Hear that yet?
It's not his fault. It's me. I've been so busy with work, Lemansky, and making sure I'm home in time for all of these Hawkeye post games and hangouts and whatever else, because I love you guys so much. And I have not got him exactly what shirt I want. So I'm sorry. I'm going to do it. I promise.
I sent money in for a pink Snuggie. That's number 2, Corey, you tightwad.
I'm sorry.
I have been on Kachine these last couple days about the pink Snuggie. So between the Snuggie and the shirt, I'm like, well, at least she's still showing up.
I'm gonna listen.
Lemansky,
I'm gonna.
Your money is safe. It's not going anywhere. I promise. I'm not going out in the town with it. So don't worry. I don't think
I'm not. I don't think you go on the town, but I think you might have a little toddy or a shot of tequila once in a while.
Well, that may be true, but
if I come to town, will you do a shot of tequila, Corey, in Ames, Iowa? Because
sure.
I have to drink to drive through that God forbidden town.
If you come through town, Lemansky, I will show up somewhere and take a shot of tequila just for you.
And with that, I'm going to get off the show because even though Kachine does not need any Bluter sleep or any beauty sleep, Bluter sleep, beauty sleep, and I haven't drank it tonight, but I might start. You have a good night, and you know what? How can we lose with a Snuggie the day before the big game? We're going to win, Hawkeyes. Good night.
Lemansky, thank you, sir. Appreciate your energy and your support. Ombre says, the boy been drinking. I hope not.
Nah, you just ain't been here before.
I think that's just Lemansky. I think Lemansky's just here. And all right, we've got one more call coming in. Do I answer it, Kachine?
Answer it. Lord, let's not hope it's somebody we gotta regret. Go ahead.
Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, this is Jacob. How you doing?
Good, Jacob. How are you?
Well, my daughter might have been the reason for this whole pink Snuggie issue. And I just want to say you're welcome for this. And I'm glad that you're getting pink Snuggie. But I did want to say that I've been watching this whole time, and it started off, it sounded like this was like from the Hawkeye of the Kardashians. We had a drama with the ESPN host being married to another ESPN host and what they were saying. I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, apparently Molly Karam and Jalen Rose are no longer together. I was not aware of that, nor do I care. What I do care about, Jacob, is this: the Mavs won tonight.
Oh my God!
Well, I did want to say that Luka.
Oh gosh!
I did see him shout out Caitlin.
Yes, he did. Did you?
He did.
He did, and it was very. You know what? Here, I'm not going to say anymore. You know what? I don't need to defend the guy. It's a very, very nice thing that he said. But anyways, go ahead.
I also saw right when he was throwing off a ball off the scoreboard and banking it in and everything. I'm glad he can do that instead of playing defense. But we can get to the game in a way. I don't have an issue with Gabby guarding Paige at first because Paige is crafty. She knows all the tricks. She can shoot from anywhere on the court. She can get her back. She can do everything. But sometimes you need somebody who can stay within themselves. And Gabby can do that. She can stay calm. So I don't get a problem with Gabby guarding Paige at all. But I think Kachine is right. Is either Sydney or Kate Martin could have a big game because one of them is going to have a huge mismatch just because the two freshmen and one of them's, I believe, or maybe both of them aren't very big. So they should be able to have a good game. But one question I have about UConn's offense, though, is I know it's a similar offense to what Iowa runs, but is this an offense that Iowa's actually seen since they are a true motion offense? Constantly moving, screens every play. Everybody's crashing, everybody's backdoor to the basket. Are we sure that this is an offense that Iowa's used to seeing?
Go ahead, Corey.
It's all you, Kachine. That's
Oh, okay. Used to seeing. Let's see.
well, just real quick, and I will say
No.
this: you brought it. We haven't really talked about it, but Azzy Fudd, she is one of the players that's out and has been out for like the whole season, right? Am I correct in saying that, Kachine?
Yes.
So she's somebody that burned Iowa in their last matchup. So she's not there. And then who's the other? Was it Descharme, who had, I think, 50? I saw she had 15. Am I pronouncing her last, or how do you pronounce her last name? I believe she's also out, or she's been out for a long time. So, anyways, that's all I have to say as far as the style of play. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can say this from my perspective: Iowa has had a couple issues, specifically with the gal at Nebraska, with individually really good guards, but at the same time, Gabby has shut down some really good guards. Flauge was contained the other night. Part of that was foul trouble, but I don't know. Anything to add to that, Kachine?
I think we've seen something similar. I wouldn't say it's exactly like that, no, but we have played teams that do screen a lot. So I'm not really worried about us seeing something we haven't seen before.
Okay. It's just this is a system run by a coach who, I'm not a historian, but it seems like he knows what he's doing. And,
he does
with that offense. That but
and he's going to put in things to beat us.
Yeah, that bench, but hey, it hasn't been a problem yet for UConn. They've met every challenge, and it hasn't been an issue yet. But with Kate, Sydney, and Caitlin hopefully all crashing to the basket and driving, which they all three do, that should generate some foul trouble. It should.
It should. It
really
definitely should.
Get into.
Yeah. And when you make a concerted effort not to foul on defense, I mean, there is such a thing as being disciplined and your fundamentals being really good so that you're just naturally not fouling. But I think you said this on the other show the other day, Kachine, like you can't just have part of your game plan. Hey, we can't foul. If that's not and if that's not part of who you are, and that has not been conditioned in your players, that can't be part of a scout. Like, we can't foul. You can't just say that. Like, it's part of how you play or how you don't play. And so one thing you brought up, Kachine, somebody in the chat mentioned the post. I can't speak to the maybe offensively or defensively guarding Aaliyah Edwards, but one thing I reflect on is what you've said about Aaliyah Edwards and her tendency to get in foul trouble. And if you get just one player in foul trouble, especially someone as important as Aaliyah, it can change everything in a game like this.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's all. That's all I had. I know it's late, but with all this pink Snuggie talk, I had to chime in a little bit since maybe, like I said, I didn't. My daughter tipped that off. And
tell your daughter a big thank you for me, please.
Well, here's the deal. I will have her pick it out, but the only problem is it's going to have a unicorn or something on it. Here's the deal. So you're going to have to just deal with it if that's what comes to you. Because
I have no problems with unicorns. My daughter loves unicorns, so I don't have an issue with it.
Oh, okay. Well, and Corey,
yes.
Maybe you can send Luka The Last Dance so he can learn from Scottie Pippen from some defense. But other than that,
yeah, all right.
Other than that, have a good night, and I think it will be a Hawkeye victory tomorrow.
Thank you for the call, sir. Appreciate it. And let me just say we're not far away from the NBA playoffs, so all that talk is going to be either.
I can start to watch again. That's good.
All right. Quick fire on the last few questions. David, Kachine, can coaches reach out and talk to players who are not yet declared to be in the portal? Well, I can answer that. They're not supposed to.
Legally. Not legally.
Yeah, exactly. Not by rule. Nicole says, do we think they'll play any junk defense? What is junk defense for those that don't know what?
Yeah, Nicole, if you're still in here, what did you mean? Because I don't want to answer something or assume like there is a certain thing called junk defense, but I don't know if you know that. So I just want to just double check.
Okay. Happy to answer the question, but want some clarity on it. Timothy, can you have Kachine talk about the experience factor as UConn has 3 freshmen who will play a lot? I think we addressed that earlier, Timothy. If you go back in the chat or in the show, rewind, you'll find our conversation about experience. Maybe an hour ago, maybe a little less. Andrew MC, Cash, how will all the notoriety affect recruiting? Well, I think we're already seeing that effect on recruiting.
It should affect very well because now people believe that you can go to Iowa and win a national championship. That's the key.
It sounds like there is more support with the Swarm from the Iowa women's basketball perspective than there was before. So I would anticipate Lisa Bluter will swing bigger in the transfer portal. But as Tom Kakert brought up earlier, and Kachine, you've attested to, she's going to be very selective, just like Fran McCaffrey, just like Kirk Ferentz. Those 3 coaches are all very similar in their stance on recruiting, transfer portal, all that stuff. They're going to be careful because culture is important. Bobby, Kachine, when making a statement, what is your go-to shoe?
Anything with bling and a nice thin heel. I'm a good stiletto girl, but you got to have a little bling on it.
Jeremy said, does Gino have Iowa's number?
I mean, stats say yes, but this a new year, baby.
Yep. And it's the tournament. I know they played him in the tournament 3 years ago, but it's been a while. Amanda, isn't junk defense box and 1, triangle 2, anything that's not zone or man? Not my question, though.
Amanda, kind of. There's a lot of different ways you can play junk defense, but that's part of it. Another way is more of like a pressing situation where you're like jumping the point guard. There's a lot of different ways you can put it, but you are right on.
Bradley says, I want Kachine's take on what Gino said in his press conference. Do you think he's trying to play mind tricks with CC?
I thought it was funny. Honestly, I thought it was funny because if I'm him, I'm thinking the same thing. Like, I don't want no smoke. I don't want no problems, Caitlin, please, because you just added fuel to the fire in the sense of just like other people were before the LSU game. And so I feel like he said it. I don't think he meant it that way, but of course the media being the media, they were like, psh, see where this goes.
T Hink, users, please help the show out by subscribing. We're close to 8,000 subs, getting the content out to other Hawkeye fans about the show, and not just my hard work, but the hard work of people like Kachine. And to give everybody one final update on likes, we are at 336 likes.
Okay, so we got more. Come on, y'all. Come on. Give me the 350. Give me the 350. I'll work with you. Give me the 350.
Settling for 350. Hit the like button, folks. Please hit the like button. It's just the little button that has the thumbs up symbol. I feel like I have to explain that. It's the button with the thumbs up symbol right below the video. All right. So that will help in the algorithm. A few reminders. You can follow me on Twitter @FromTheHawkeye, also @FromTheHawkeye on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. Need to get that account going. Also, our co-host, lovely co-host, Kachine, it can be found over on social media @Kachine Alexis. Over on Twitter, she is very active during the games. I can tell you that firsthand. She is extremely active on Twitter during games. So if you enjoy that. Also, shop Amazon with us. There's a link to do all your Amazon shopping. If you're interested in becoming a premium subscriber, instructions on the bottom ticker. Also, share the show out on social media because if you enjoy it, others will as well. Also, from the Hawkeye of the Storm apparel merchandise. Hopefully more coming. We'll have to work on that in the off season. But there is a selection over on Spreadshop, so check it out. There's a link in our description. The Hawkeyes and the Huskies tomorrow night, 8:30. I thought it was 8, but the official game notes say 8:30. They end up starting 15, 20 minutes.
God.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Pretty much 10 o'clock my time because you then don't start till
These NCAA games on ESPN, you notice they say like 6 o'clock and then they tip at like 6:20. So what's the difference? Hopefully that does not mean they tip at 8:45, Kachine.
That's exactly where they're going to tip at. Because last time it was like 17 minutes later. I was like, oh my gosh. And now that's what, 9:30 my time, which is going to be 9:45, which means the game ain't going to end till almost midnight. Oh, it's all right. I'm going to get some good sleep. I got to get sleep. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to take a nap tomorrow.
You're working? Aren't you working?
Take a nap.
You're working though, right?
I am. But, you know, I'll figure it out during that time period. It's not starting till 9:30.
Yeah, 9:30.
I can take a nap after work if my daughter lets me. So there's that.
Any final comments on the matchup? What to expect tomorrow? We'll be here for post-game coverage for people that don't know. Kachine and I take calls, make comments, so it's easy to just flip the TV on if you have a smart TV on YouTube, or certainly if you want to tune in via your computer, mobile device, tablet, whatever. So we'll be here talking after the game. Any final comments, Kachine?
What's my like total?
Your like total is 357. And we'll hit 400. We'll hit 400. People will like it after the fact. So we'll get there.
I'm just happy we got to 350. I appreciate y'all for that. Thank you very much for sending me out on a high note tonight.
Folks, please, if you have not already done so, support the show in whatever way you're able to. And, of course, you can also do so by donation, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, all in our descriptions as a thank you for the show. And my thank you goes to you, Kachine, because you are a joy for us to have on the show. And if it was just me, I know people watched this show before you, but man, it would be rough. It would be rough.
Talking to yourself.
So anyways, you are a pleasure to be on here, and we'll look forward to at least one more post-game show with you this spring. So
at least one more. We're living for the next 40 minutes. That's it.
Folks, you can catch Kachine and I tomorrow. Iowa, UConn tomorrow night, ESPN, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. We'll talk to you after the game. Have a great night.